Welcome back, and I'm over here looking at some posts, some greetings, and this one is from Boga Ali Hashim to all my inspiring siblings, and he lists quite a few: Malam Zaino, Alidu Abbas, Aisha Yusuf, and all Al-Haji Ali family inside the oil city. Oscar Santi paying compliments to the styling by Kwaba Samoa of Custom Looks. Thank you very much. Sav Bobby says you've got plans of coming out with the first ever medical movie in Ghana, and all that is still locked up in you. Any help, recommendations, advice? Well, how about this? How about some prophecy? How about a bishop that's come all the way from the United States? Maybe he can pray for you. That's what it says right here on the flyer. The storm is over. So if it's raging inside you and you make your way to the National Theatre from today until the 30th of June, you might find peace. I've got Prophet Dr. Kwesi Ajiman Prempe in the studio with me, along with Bishop Noel Jones. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise. Welcome to Ghana. Prophet.
Good morning, Eric.
Can you see something bright in my future?
Definitely.
I can't say I've got a storm, but a tsunami now and then, yeah.
Well, you're not the only one, I promise.
Okay, so Bishop, other than this event, was there anything else that sort of drew you to Ghana, drew you to Africa?
Well, I realize that the motherland, as far as those of us in diaspora, have to have some connection to the motherland, because our roots are here. Everything that we do, and indeed and in fact, in many instances, the whole Pentecostal movement is Christianity being Africanized. It's just a wonderful kind of a thing. So you have to come and deal with it, with the wonderful, melodious influence, the music that goes into Christianity. Much of it is born in our ethnicity from Africa.
Christianity being Africanized. What would the key message be from you, Prophet?
The message that is coming from us is that God is reassuring us that in the midst of every challenge, there is a way out. And we are coming from the point of when Noah was in the ark and the flood was over, but he was still being kept in the ark, still doesn't know what to do. But God came to tell him that it is time to step out. And when the storm is over, it means that it is time to take the territories. So God is trying to tell the nation as a whole that we must bury what we can bury and move on, for what is ahead is better than what we have experienced.
I got a post the other day that alluded to the fact that the writer thought that not everything that was in the ark was a good thing, and he or she mentioned mosquitoes specifically. He says, well, the reason why we are suffering from malaria is because the mosquitoes got allowed into the ark by Noah.
Well, there are some things that, there are some details nobody really deals with in terms of scripture, but obviously anything that exists to this point had to transition through that situation. But I think that one thing is critical, and that is that storms affect everybody on every level. It is the mindset of the individual who can conceptualize better and who can obviously move from a psychologically debilitated situation based on having gone through a storm to understand that storms are a part of life. And ultimately you have to overcome your circumstances and your situation, and you can only do that with expectation and with great faith. And this becomes a motivation, because once you have expectation, it drives you and it moves you to operate and to function in the thing that you believe will happen. And that's one of the problems, is when you put people in situations where they have no hope, then you've got problems, because where there's apathy, what follows apathy is violence. Whenever people have hope, then they can operate in a situation. So I think government and the whole issue of church and everything that we do must ultimately give individuals expectation and hope, and then their future is bright.
And the title for this event is the Ultimate Believers Convention. It has been said that African people, both on the continent and the diaspora, are very, very spiritual. Is this a fact? In your experience, are African congregations, North American congregations, and congregations in other parts of the world different from each other in that regard?
Well, when you deal with congregations, much of a congregation's disposition and attitude comes from the message that's being projected. And oftentimes, we have very religious people. See, you can be religious and not be spiritual. because you follow a form, ritualistic, ceremonial piety, instead of having an inner strength. See, the reason why you have to declare that Africans and people from African descent are spiritual is because the only way we have survived in this world, with all the oppression, with all the slavery, with all the things that we've had to face for hundreds and hundreds of years, is to have an inner strength and to interpret our situation and our circumstances in light of what is better and what will ultimately come into our lives. That's why it's ultimate believers, because all of us who have faith can declare ourselves to be spiritual, because we're not operating from what's around us, we're operating from what's in us.
Interesting. I like the way you put it, because you touched on African history in the political and the socio-economic context, and that brings to mind something that Bishop Desmond Tutu is quoted as having quipped, to the effect that, well, in the beginning we had the land and they had the Bible. He's talking about the missionaries, and before we knew it, we had the Bible and they had the land.
Well, one of the things that you have to understand, and I know very clearly, is that the dominant culture has always used religion to get its way. And I mean, Karl Marx said it. He said that religion is the opiate of the people, because the dominant culture has always used religion to get and to assert itself. The interesting thing is, and I have a very good friend who is a neuropsychologist who just happens to be an atheist, and we argue all the time.
You've got a friend who is a neuropsychologist who is an atheist.
Atheist, yes.
And he's your friend, and you guys have a running dialogue, an argument.
We, of course, all the time.
I'd love to be a part of that conversation.
Yes, and indeed, and in fact, and I'm telling you, if you keep watching this television, I'm doing a show called Preachers of LA, and I'm doing it on Oxygen NBC Universal. And ultimately, you will see that kind of dialogue if you keep watching the TV, watch NBC. The whole issue here is in the argument that he projects, and that I project in retort to his presentation, is he begins, and the premise is, here we're being dominated by an oppressor who uses religion. But at the end of the day, it's all about interpretation. The same domination that comes from the oppressor using religion by his interpretation to dominate, it's our interpretation of the same religion to keep ourselves spiritual enough to handle the oppression and to ultimately overcome it.
What is the role of religion when it comes to socio-economic development in our part of the world, in Ghana, Doc? I mean, what do you think Christianity and events such as yours can actually contribute to the well-being of Ghanaians?
Well, it's not just like focusing on just praying or just preaching. What we believe is that the church must be a community. For instance, when you get into the basilica, you should be able to have a bank, to have a hospital, to have all sort of things gathered in one location. What we are going to experience from tonight, we're having all manners of things being put together. We're having an exhibition. What we have done is that we want to empower all the Christian folk businesses to project, to also live them. So what we do is that we have an exhibition where everyone is invited to also come and advertise their businesses and also set up their stand. It's free. We are not charging for you to come and place. You must pay this before you can exhibit your business. We are even encouraging pepper sellers, every charcoal sellers, everybody, because we want to touch the grassroots. If you are looking for a development, you are not looking for those that they are just stepping out from the graduation and saying that I just want to use this to develop the nation. You need the grassroots, because the grassroots are the masses. And so what we've done is that by the grace of God, we're putting everyone together, giving one an opportunity to be able to also experiment and also to come out to also prove to us what they can also do and contribute to the economy.
Interesting one there. Just so that we must, because I want to get Bishop Jones's take on this. Balancing, being a prophet and working for profit. Isn't that exactly when Jesus got really upset in the Bible and even got violent to a point that lashing people, say you've made this place into a place of business and it's supposed to be the house of God. that seems to me almost like what Doc was just describing, inviting business to be part of religion. Money and religion. Is that a good mix?
You can't operate in this world without money. The real issue is, what is your priority? For instance, I have a few friends in the acting business who are in a variety of different businesses. And what I find is that people love what they do because they're gifted to do it, and money becomes a byproduct. It is not that you're going after money. It is that you're going after what it is that your vocation is and your calling, your giftedness. And everybody's gifted. What we need to do in a church environment is understand the giftedness of the individuals and what they have to contribute to the community as a whole, and then allow them the opportunity to contribute within that community that is established. It's not that you're going to take a religious environment or a church environment and just send it after money. What you're going to do is you're going to express what your gift is, and you seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness. Now, if you come out, I will give you a presentation that deals with the issues of loving God, not loving the world, so that you can operate and use things to bless others. The problem we have in our social environment, economic environment, is too few want to control too much.
Interesting. Bishop Noel Jones, and you can meet him at the National Theatre from this evening through the 30th of June, 5:30 p.m. each night. It's being hosted by Prophet Dr. Akwesi Ajman Prempeh. They've been my guests. They say that the Ultimate Believers Convention 2013 is called The Storm is Over.